What is going on, my fellow vintage collectors? Today we're posting video number 1. For myself here, we're social distancing, so I think it's time to, spread the love. And let's talk about Star Wars and talk about some stuff that's passionate to me, probably passionate to you if you've clicked on this website, and let's go from there. So we're going to start the video with the Star Wars Mandalorian troop transport. Now, this is one of the original vehicles released in the line back in 1979. It's one that I've always dreamt of having as a kid. I never had it as a kid. I took the opportunity to get the one that came out for Rebels a few years back, but this one just blows it out of the water, especially after seeing it on the Mandalorian episode there. I think me, like a lot of other people, had dreams come true in this aspect. So here let's start the video. Let's go from here. Star Wars Mandalorian Troop Transport box. You can see the Kenner logo there on the bottom. Vintage Collection logo up on the top here. Imperial Troop Transport. Now, mind you, this is probably the back packaging of the vehicle, but I seem to like this one a little bit more than the front, just because of that Vintage Collection symbol there. If we turn this thing around to the side here, we get a look at the cannon that's sitting on the top of the vehicle. It doesn't have any projectiles, unfortunately, but it does turn side to side, and there is some pivot to go up and down as well. We'll show you that a little bit later in the video. The bottom picture there, again, Kenner logo, and you can see the stormtroopers on the sides and on the inside as well. We turn this thing around. This is actually the front, if you wanted to call it, of the vehicle. It doesn't have the vintage symbol. I like the other one in the back just because it's Vintage Collection. Nonetheless, you can see stormtroopers. Now, this is the Remnant Stormtrooper. I still don't have this one yet, waiting for this one to come, but we do have some regular stormtroopers that we're going to populate this thing up with and look at it in detail. If we turn that over to the other side now, we can see the Imperial Troop Transport from above with stormtroopers sitting on the inside, and of course the back hatch opening and having them coming out. I mean, this just looks amazing. I can't wait to pop this thing open and have a look at it. We turn this thing back around over to the front here, and we look at it from top down. We can also see front of the vehicle with the doors opening there, stormtroopers sitting inside manning this thing. I guess you can put stormtroopers in there, or you could potentially even put some Imperial officers, depending on what you have in your collection. And if we raise this thing up, look at it from the other side there, from the bottom, we can see almost exactly the same shot, if not the same shot as the front, with the stormtroopers position, TIE fighter there, other stormtrooper, and the troop transport there in the middle. So let's crack this sucker open and see what we have on the inside. So here we have this guy busted out of the packaging. Here he is, in it's all its glory, with stormtroopers sitting inside, obviously making it look 100% complete. Until you get the stormtroopers in there, you're going to kind of feel that it's a little bit hollow, but the whole point is to put figures in. I guess my one complaint would be I wish it would have came with some, seeing them on the box. If they charged me an extra $30 and they put 2 or 3 figures in there, I would have been happier. Even at the price point that it's at, probably should have had some figures in there, something exclusive anyway, to make it a little bit more unique. Maybe some accessories as well as some troopers. So it can hold a lot of figures. Just on the outside here, I have the 6 sitting where you can see them. And then as we turn this guy around here to the front, you can see that I have front of the vehicle. If you look inside, you can see there's 2 stormtroopers manning the controls in there as well. On the guns on this vehicle here, they don't rotate at all. They're positioned. Would have been nice. The Rebels one did have it where, it could pivot back and forth. This one doesn't, unfortunately, but no issues there. Look at the weathering on here. The weathering looks fantastic. Positioned it around to the other side here. You can see the Imperial insignia. More troopers, of course, on the side here. And we can man it over here to the back. We're looking at it from the back here. We can see how it looks like from the back down. On the top, of course, you do have the cannon. That cannon does, turn back and forth and, give you some options if you need to shoot some rebels. And it does actually go up and down as well, so that comes in handy too. When we position it over here from the front, we can pop this guy open just like that. And if we look inside, we have stormtroopers manning this thing over here. And same thing on the other side. This guy opens as well. Let's open that guy up. Pilot in there as well. A little bit difficult to get in. If you got fingers like mine, now my fingers aren't very big, but I still had issues putting this guy in there. But he did get in, and once he's in there, he's not coming out. He's going to sit in there. That's, I guess, kind of the point. Turn this guy around over here to the front, and we can see the troopers in there. It has the option to pop this guy open as well and take him out. So now that hatch on the front there only opens on the two front sides. It doesn't open on the back compartments, which, you know, would have been nice if it did. But again, no complaints. We can pull that stormtrooper right out, you know, and, you know, bring him over. Now, if you're wondering which stormtrooper is it, how the hell did he get that many vintage collection stormtroopers? That's the Rogue One one. I bought a bunch of Rogue One ones. I got lucky. They went on clearance. I love them. I think they're perfect pose for something like this, because once they're in there, they're not meant to be posable anyway, especially on the 6 slots there. So that's the trooper that's in there. Let's put him over here to the side. Let's turn this thing around so you can see a little bit more detail. Now we move our way to the back. This hatch opens here on the back. If we pop that hatch open, you know, we can get troopers inside. I'll show you that in a sec, but you can kind of see, you know, where that stands in there. We'll see what it looks like in the interior in a moment. On this side as well, same thing, 2 stationary slots for the figures, and then the front one here as well. This guy opens up, and we can take that figure out as well. So same thing there. You can come in and out of there. And of course, if you look behind the figures, they do have a doorway opening so you can get inside. There's a stormtrooper in there. He's kind of, you know, fell over on the side, sitting there. Lonely guy. He's probably by himself. We'll pop this thing open to look in that area as well. Yeah, let's bring this thing forward here. If we pop this hatch on top here, you know, we can bring the stormtroopers in and out of there as well. We can position that guy in there. He can come in and out of the troop transport, peek out, see what's going on, and not come out fully, which is a nice little addition. They probably didn't need to have that, but it's nice that we have that on there. And then that cover, of course, that comes off too. So we'll pop that guy off. Detailed, so vintage collection things that I've noticed on here, everything is very, very crisp, detailed. They didn't need to do the underneath. They did, which is really nice, you know. And you're looking at it from the top as well. You can see the gun, the turret. You know, it does position up and down like we talked about before, side to side, but unfortunately nothing shoots. It'd be nice if you could change this and put one in there with a projectile, but you can't, but we'll have to live with that. So again, that hatch opens here. That's that hatch that was opening on top, and we turn that guy over. We can see what it looks like underneath with the hatch open as well. Oh, stormtrooper, picture frame. Okay, so let's put this aside. Let's keep going here. Let's look in some detail on the inside here from the front, just to kind of get an idea of what that guy looks like in there. So you can see the stormtrooper in there manning it. You can see his buddy on the opposite side there. Everything's detailed. There is some sticker decals inside here that you can notice that was printed on. This little control panel that he holds, that does move back and forth to get him in there a little bit easier. You can get his hand in. I have some issues putting the hand on, so I just left it. And if we turn it around this way, we can see the inside of the doorway is also detailed. Another sticker there. And, you know, lots of rugged detailing in there. On top here, once you remove the cover, you can see they have engine compartment that's covered there as well. And we come around to this side here, and we can kind of get, you know, a look inside there at the other stormtrooper, and, you know, see what he's doing in there as well. But that's pretty much it to get in from the front there. Now, let's close these guys up like that. Okay. Side doors like we talked about as well. You know, that side door pops open back and forth. We'll close that guy up, and then we'll close the other guy up on the other side. And then we're going to take a nice little look in from the back. Let me just fix my trooper that should be sitting, and he's not sitting because I'm moving this thing up back and forth. But that's what it looks like. You look at it directly inside from the back, you'll notice that there is 4 benches they can sit on. These back 2 don't come down, unfortunately, but the other 4 do. So if I stick my hand in there and I pivot that one up, you can see that I can close that. And those 4, do come in and out, and you can have your troopers in there. Now, there's no foot pegs in there. I guess it would take away from the look of the aesthetic of this thing if they did have it in there, but it would have been nice to be able to put them in. I don't have to worry every time I move it that they're all going to tumble over, because I'd love to litter the entire interior of this thing with stormtroopers. So that's kind of the plan. If we look in further, there's my one Rogue One Vintage Collection Stormtrooper, sitting in all his glory inside there. I got him positioned on the chair. He sits right inside. in the chair there, and we'll take them out for now just for demonstration purposes, and we'll look inside and we'll see the chairs. Now again, that's where this guy comes down. If I position him, there we go, you can see that that chair comes down. We have the 4 chairs, and we have a nice big gun rack over here, and that's a nice little addition, you know, to do some storage for the figures. There's a little window too on the back here. If you look, let me just pop this door open here on the side, and if you look, you know, right behind the stormtrooper there, you can see my finger. There's a nice little, you know, lightweight passageway that comes through there, so it gives you some illumination of light on the inside. Maybe a good idea for this thing would be to put some LED lights in there as well. And if you have it dark, it probably look amazing in there. Maybe, you know, the LED lights with a little tint of blue showing in there. But that's, you know, the gist of what this sucker looks like. Now I'm going to take the troopers off just so we can look at this thing from underneath and not have any casualties. I don't want any stormtroopers falling to their death in the making of this video. So let's go from there. Let's turn this sucker upside down. And from underneath, you can see it's very detailed as well. They probably didn't need to do that. They did. It's Vintage Collection. They are charging us a little bit more. I was saying, please God, tell me they're going to have wheels on this thing so at least it can maneuver back and forth, and they did. They didn't disappoint there. So it does have wheels on there, so you can rotate this guy back and forth when you put him down. Away he goes, you know, back and forth, driving around. Now, for the price point for this guy, this is where it's tough. You know, I obviously impulse buy right away. Pick this guy up. I had to buy him. I had to have him. It's Vintage Collection. It's a, you know, dream vehicle. They actually put him in the show, which was really nice. But this thing, you know, in Canada here is $99.99. I think in the US it was $79. I wasn't even sure it was coming here, so I pre-ordered this thing online from the States, paid shipping, had it come over here, and then found out after the fact that it showed up at, you know, EB Games here, and it showed up at a number of different retailers, online retailers as well, like Amazon. And again, price point a little bit high. Would have been nice if they included some figures. I mean, this is an opportunity to release a vehicle with some army builders. I don't think anybody would have complained. At the price point of $100, you would have liked it to come with 2 or 3 figures, but I guess it is what it is. And again, it's a welcome addition to the Vintage Collection and to my collection for sure, and I'm sure to many of your collections as well. And, you know, that's it in all its glory. And, you know, pick one of these up. Highly recommend it. Price point, again, a little bit out, but vehicle itself, you know, for what you get. Now, I did hear someone saying that it was a little bit light for what it is. I think weight-wise, it does feel solid. It does not feel cheap. The Rebels one felt really cheap, and of course it kind of looks cheap, but, you know, we didn't have an alternative at that point, and I'll show you that as well. Here's a comparison with the Rebels Imperial Troop Transport that came out a few years back. You can kind of see that maybe not from this angle, but the Vintage Collection one is a lot larger, a lot bigger. The Rebels one doesn't have anything, you know, opening on the back here where this guy does, detail-wise. It does have the slot for the 6 figures. One thing that I do like about it that the Vintage Collection one doesn't have is, you know, the guns here on the front. These guys move back and forth. Like, how difficult would it have been for them to give us at least that feature on there to kind of justify price point? But of course, you know, this is all just, you know, painted on as opposed to an actual slot where it opens. There's no opening doors here. It does have, you know, the turret on top. Now the turret's mounted so it doesn't go up and down, but it does fire the projectiles, which is nice. As well as the hatch on top does open and it holds figures in there. I think I have a few figures inside there as well. So that's probably the one, you know, difference in there. They did make an inside, but, you know, nowhere near as good as that guy there. And then this thing, when you talk about lightweight, this feels cheap. Now, one thing that I never liked about this vehicle when it came out, I turned this thing upside down. It's super hollow underneath. For some reason, they detailed this, but they couldn't even put wheels on it. Like, those are just, you know, that's part of the plastic. That does not turn. That just sits there, and that really felt cheap even at the time, but I needed something to display because it looks so good to have the Imperial Troop Transport in your collection. So the only other one that I do have that I can show you, I don't have the original 1979 version to show you a comparison of, but I do have the Lego Rebels one that they released a few years back as well, so you can kind of see what that looks like. Now that's a miniature version, but I always like this one too because, you know, Lego, unlike Hasbro, Lego got it right and they gave you 4 figures actually came with this guy. So you could army build buying these things, which was really, really nice. The only difference would be that they put the blue on their, the blue paint on their mask instead of the black paint. But other than that, you know, 4 army builders with the troop transport, you can't go wrong. Or even if they put a set on the side, you know, a pack of 6 stormtroopers, you know, just to kind of go along with this thing. I don't see anybody that wouldn't pick up the transport and then that pack of stormtroopers on the side, because, you know, we can't find stormtroopers in the store. So that's it, guys. Comparison. You know, hope you guys like the review. It's my first one, first of many. You can see my vintage collection is, you know, very large. I'd like to show you guys more stuff. Please like if you do like the video, and subscribe, and, you know, questions or comments in the bottom, you know, let me have them. Thanks.